So, if you're an associate or soon to be associate at one of the Big Four, this might be one of the most important videos you'll watch, because in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can succeed at the Big Four as an associate. Now, I know what you might be thinking, well, how do you know the secrets of success at the Big Four? So I've worked at the Big Four in London for the past 3.5 years, and during that time, I've been top ranked as an associate, as a senior associate. I've also managed and coached associates, and I've been involved in the appraisal and performance and feedback process of associates. So combining all this knowledge over the past 3 years, I've developed 5 actionable tips on how you can make yourself stand out at the Big Four. If you're new here, my name is James Alberts, and this channel is all about sharing my Big Four insights, productivity, personal finance, and general career tips. If that sounds like your cup of tea, click on the channel and have a look around. So anyway, let's dive in. When you join the Big Four, so much information is thrown at you through your inductions, your training sessions, your exams, and obviously your client work. And there's going to be times where you don't really know what you're doing, and you're going to have a ton of questions. The majority of associates actually don't like asking questions. They will sit there for hours trying to figure it out themselves, wasting time, and then eventually when they can't figure it out, will ask a question. So they feel they're being annoying to their senior associates or managers or getting in their way, and this couldn't be further from the truth. One of the key roles of senior associates and managers is to coach you on any questions you have. So any of those questions you have, regardless of how silly they may sound, you should be raising them. For me, when I give an associate a task, there's nothing more annoying than explaining the task, asking them if they understand. They go, yes, I get it, yeah, I get it. They go off for a couple of hours, I check in a couple of times to go, yeah, it's all fine, no worries. And then at the end of the day, they kind of go, wow, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. That is a hell of a lot more annoying to me than just asking me questions throughout the day. There's a couple of things here, you should be aggregating your questions. So rather than asking questions 5 minutes throughout the day, aggregate them and bulk them up into lists and kind of put in 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever with your senior associate and manager, and just run through them in one go. It's a hell of a lot more efficient. Another tip is rather than just ask questions, come to your senior associate or manager with a solution. So rather than just asking a question like, I'm stuck in this work, can you help? Come with a solution in terms of, I'm not sure how to progress, I think this might be the best way to do it, but I'd really appreciate your insight. Something like that. So it shows you've identified the issue, you've thought about a way to resolve it, and you're seeking help. And even if it's, even if it is wrong, it gives you a bit of confidence that they've thought about the process, they've engaged, and they've just given it a bit more effort than going, oh, can't do it, help. This is not only an internal point, but a point also for clients. If you're asked to do a piece of work with a client, say for example, a walkthrough, or asking them to take you through a bit of accounting, and you don't understand, it's perfectly fine to say, sorry, I'm not sure I follow. Can you repeat that? And 99 times out of 100, the client will be more than happy to explain the process again. So make sure you're asking questions, aggregate those questions together, think of possible solutions to those questions, and if you don't understand, say. Networking is one of the best ways you can make the most out of the Big Four. I've been given so many opportunities through simply striking up conversations with random people or joining random kind of networking groups. It's actually phenomenal. Once you're settled in, once you're kind of comfortable with your training and your induction, you've been through a couple of exams, you get a bit more comfortable with your client work, is to seek out these various networks. Now, typically most firms will have kind of networks or clubs for sports or any hobbies. There'll also be industry related networks and clubs. So for example, if you're interested in fashion, or fast goods, or software, or oil and gas, there will typically be kind of network groups for those particular industries, and they'll run events, they'll hold webcasts, drinks and social gatherings, and obviously going along to these sessions really broadens your network and opens you up to so many opportunities. I'm always really surprised that I'd say less than 20% of people do. And it always really surprises me, because that's when you've got that's when I've got the most in terms of opportunities. You meet so many great people that can open so many different doors for you. It'd be silly not to. A lot of associates I've seen join go from like 0 to 100. They sign up to every single activity, they say yes to every single project or work task, and they work ridiculous hours to try and meet all these various expectations. Now, unfortunately, 1 or 2 years down the line, those people tend to always burn out. They've concentrated so much energy and effort into that first kind of 1-2 years that they've completely worn themselves out, they can't do anything else, and they've really lost enthusiasm for the role they're doing and the firm they're working for. People make the assumption that more hours in, aka more hours of work, is a good thing. But over time, you kind of get more worn down, you become less efficient, the quality of the work drops, and eventually by mistake or error, something goes wrong. So it's a real short-term strategy. One of the differentiators of high performers is being more purposeful with your time. Visualize your career at the Big Four as a marathon, not a sprint. And one of the keys to success is really focusing on your mental health and that work-life balance. This is not always possible, obviously, with busy season where you will be working longer hours, you may even be working the weekend, but throughout the rest of the year, you should really focus on maintaining and establishing that work-life balance. And these habits that you formed early on in your career, if formed well, will stay with you throughout the rest. I think the key is really trying to be as purposeful with your time as possible. So during the day, really trying to get into that mindset of, well, what do I want to achieve today? And working to achieve those specific goals. Because otherwise, if you start taking on too much, you kind of don't really have a purposeful day at work, that work starts creeping into your personal time. You know, it's a mistake I made early on in my career. I signed up to every single opportunity that came my way, and my 8-hour workday quickly became 9 hours, quickly became 10 hours, quickly became 11, quickly became 12. And in terms of work-life balance, there wasn't a balance. It was just work. And very quickly, over a period of a couple of months, I really did start to feel the effects of my mental health. As soon as I actually took a step back and looked at what extracurricular projects or am I passionate about, what client work really interests me, and focused on those aspects rather than just trying to please everyone, found a hell of a lot more purpose in my work. The work produced was higher quality, and at the same time, reduction in hours meant I obviously was able to have a work-life balance. Make sure you have that balance in your life, because otherwise you won't last the duration. When you join the Big Four, you've got to really make sure you get your mindset in the right place. It's about making life easier for your senior associates and managers and the engagement team as a whole. And when I say life, I obviously don't mean personal life. I don't mean helping them out with their laundry or anything like that. I mean, how can I make their work life easier? It's about being proactive, thinking a couple steps ahead of the process that needs to be followed, and trying to take those tasks away from your manager. So say, for example, you're in a meeting with your manager and they mention, oh, we should set up a meeting with Bob, I don't know, Jane and Laura. After the meeting, proactively going to the manager, do you want me to set up that meeting? Creating an agenda, collating various documents, pulling various bits of information together, maybe proactively saying you're going to be taking minutes. The task can be quite mundane and repetitive and not very creative, but regardless, it's very important that this stuff gets done. Having that mindset of how can I make my senior associates and managers' job easier is key. A lot of associates are actually really bad at setting expectations on the timeline of completing work. Typically because they want to impress, or maybe they're not used to the working life, will underestimate how long particular tasks will take. When you're working on really time-pressured deadlines and projects, every day does count. If you say to your manager, oh yeah, I get it to you by Tuesday, and you don't deliver on that, and you consistently do that over time, it can obviously start to harm your reputation. So it's been really realistic and key in, caveating those expectations as much as possible. A lot of the work you'll be doing at the Big Four will depend on receiving information from the client. And clients, because they have their own day job, providing you with information is typically, well, not always, top of the priority list, so there can be a couple of delays on it. Be really upfront and clear with your manager about your expected timeline. I'm aiming to complete this bit of work on Tuesday, but I am waiting for this bit of information or schedule or contract from the client. I can't really progress it until I've received that. If I get it today, Tuesday, if not, it'll be later in the week. Is that okay? And as long as you're raising these expectations and timelines early, 9 times out of 10 it'll be absolutely fine, because that allows me to plan around it and other bits around it. Be realistic about how quickly you can get through work and your capacity. Never overpromise and underdeliver. That brings us to the end, really. These tips, they're not necessarily revolutionary, right? But in my experience, you're quite hard to find an associate that demonstrates them all. And if you do demonstrate them all, particularly in your first year, you will stand out and you will start building a solid reputation for yourself as someone that can get stuff done and at the same time respects their own commitments. So I really hope you've enjoyed that video. Let me know if you think there's any tips I've missed in the comments down below. If you're interested in any other Big Four insider information, productivity, personal finance, or general careers advice, check out my channel. A lot more content will be coming. Anyway, until next time.